right, that's a wrap on the Pearl Drum Rehab project. Here's the kit all set up. Really happy with the way it came out. Quick recap. This was a 1982 Pearl Contempo 2 kit that I picked up on Craigslist. It was wrapped in blue, a blue wrap that was kind of starting to decay and come apart. So because they were maple shells, I decided I wanted to rehab them and actually finish them with stain. I've been doing a lot of woodworking, so I was getting into staining wood. I thought this would be a great project. Get me back into playing drums. The other thing is I've only ever played a 4-piece kit in my life, so this was a opportunity to get into something bigger in terms of four-ish rack toms and a floor tom and a bass drum. So I have a much larger kit to go through. What a fun project it was. It did take me over a year. I apologize. I haven't posted anything recently. Had a lot of family stuff going on, but I think we're going to call this done. I'm going to start playing this and we're going to move on to another project. But before I do that, I wanted to go through kind of 10 things that I learned. And then if you've watched any of the videos, hopefully you picked up on, but I'll just kind of highlight those here. So I'll go through my kind of top 10 list of things that we learned through the process. Number one, and I actually did this, I think I did a pretty good job of it, was to organize your parts. I never imagined this project was going to take me 14 months from beginning to end. So I'm glad I put everything in individual labeled Ziploc bags. I kept every component, whether they be the little nails that you use to put on the badges or what have you. So I saved everything, including the grommets that I thought I had screwed up pretty badly. And that leads me to point number two, which is use care. On this first drum here, I was a little rough and took the maple shell badge, kind of came apart on me a little bit. But I figured out a technique to use, and ultimately at the end of the day, I ended up using the grommets that I took out. I couldn't find thicker grommets because for these maple shells, everything I could find was too narrow or too shallow in depth. So really glad I kept everything. But lesson number two is really pay attention to and be careful with your grommets, your badges, and those other things that are really hard to find on a kit that is 43 years old. Number three, something I wish I would have done, paid more attention to, was getting the glue off, right? So these were wrapped. They had the Pearl traditionally uses double-sided tape. I thought I had got it all off, but once I started putting the dye on, you could clearly see a little bit of strip where the glue had permeated the wood, and it was different than just the naked wood. So you can see it on some of the drums if you look really close, but I wish I would have spent a little bit more time trying to figure that part of it out. I can't go back now, but that was something I learned as well. Number four, really happy with aniline dye. Aniline dye is awesome. By luck, I picked up a kit that was made by somebody in Portland. I texted or emailed him, and he said he used aniline dye with a instrument lacquer. I don't think I got the instrument lacquer. I just used plain old satin lacquer, but really like the way these came out in the finish they came out in like a satin finish with again the aniline dye underneath. Number five, take a lot of before pictures. I took almost no before pictures of the kit. I really should have, just on my phone, taken a bunch of pictures. Set the kit up first. I never even set this kit up because I knew I had the vast majority of the hardware, and I had a picture from the catalog, so I knew what it looked like set up. But hindsight, I probably should have set the whole thing up and taken a deeper look because there were some things that I had to kind of fix or redo along the way. And it would have been good to just show the whole thing in blue, set up, and then cut over to the finished product. And that leads me to number six: double and triple check the hardware. I had some lug blowouts on the bass drum lugs. I also had different tension rods. They weren't all Pearl original, so the previous owner must have swapped them out for some other ones. So I didn't have a perfect match, and I got to go hunt down some T-rods. I think I need 3 of them, and then also the lug inserts had a couple that were blown out. So it's not doing the best at tuning right now, just because again we're gotta have it put together with a couple parts I had lying around. Number 7, and this is something I guess because I haven't played regularly for a long time, and then moving to a bigger kit, is drum heads are expensive. They're really expensive, and when you outfit a kit like this with all new heads, including the bass drum. I did everything. I did the Emperors on top, Ambassadors on the bottom, coated all around on this kit. I think it cost me almost as much as the drum set did when I bought it on Craigslist. I bought most of these. I sourced all these, or most of these, locally at West Coast Drum Shop here in Seattle. Great guys over there. And I try to buy everything local. I did have to source one of these off of like Sweetwater or something too, which wasn't bad. And then Drum Center's Portsmouth, I got the bass drum heads because they had the pearl head with the logo already on it. Other thing, TuneBot. Never really spent a lot of time tuning, particularly playing a 4-piece kit. Try to get the drum in tune with itself. So I had a rack top and a floor tom. But going to a bigger kit, I wanted to have this all dialed in. So I bought a TuneBot after watching some videos. It really works nice. I'm really happy with the way this kit sounds, and I'll try to play some for you later. Number 9, and I don't know if this holds true with modern Pearl bass drum pedals, but this bass drum pedal that came from the 82 kit, which I believe is the vintage one that goes with it, sucks. Like, it is horrible. I could spend more time, maybe try to put a different spring on it or something, but overall it is not a great pedal. I'll go back to my DW here in a second, but I wanted to get this together as complete as possible. And when I finished, other than switching out one of these brackets that's holding the toms here, because the one that was on it was bent for one I had, and then I think I'm using one additional cymbal stand here. So overall, most of everything here is original from the 82 kit, including the bass drum pedal and the hi-hat stand and all the cymbal stands, brackets, tom holders, etc. So again, Pearl drum pedals from that era suck. I'll go back to my DW. And lastly, number 10, and I think this is important, buying drums is addictive. During this project, I bought that set that I found on OfferUp from a custom-made set that was done by a guy in Portland. I also bought a bunch of other vintage Pearl drums because when I bought the used kit, the guy threw in some vintage Pearl, vintage Pearl drums. So then I'm trying to find the other pieces that go with it and put it back together. So it can be addictive, it can be expensive, but it is a lot of fun. So overall, really happy with the way this kit turned out. I learned a lot. I tried to document all this because I couldn't find a ton of videos that covered it all. So hopefully this was useful to you. If it was, please leave a comment. Give me your feedback, what you liked, what didn't like, what maybe I could have done better. If you've been refinishing drums a while and said, hey, this is the way you get the glue off or what have you, always open for feedback. And with that, we're going to wrap this. I am going to try to document another project. I'll probably not do another drum set. It takes a year and a half. I might move into something else. I've got a couple of ideas, but I'm going to keep doing this, on the weekends, posting stuff, trying to post it a little more regularly as we go forward. But again, if you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and talk to you next time.